Today we are going to be practicing drawing our 3D shapes, also called forms. Now the way I start drawing my 3D shape is by starting with a 2D shape. So I am going to start with the cube. And so I will start by drawing a square. Now, I've got that 2D shape drawn. I'm going to draw 3 diagonal lines. I've done my horizontal, my vertical, and now I'm going to draw 3 diagonal lines from the 3 corners, and they're all going to be about the same length. Looks like he's flying through space with these trails behind him. And then I just connect those lines with a line that is parallel to the original 2D shape. So these 2 lines are parallel. This line, I need to draw another line that's parallel. Now what I see people doing a lot with those cubes is doing 1, 2, 3. Oh, that one is not correct. It needs to bump up and become a diagonal line. It's horizontal, so I need to bump it up. All of these 3 lines should be parallel, 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 and then this line needs to be parallel to that line. This line is parallel to that line. Cool. After the cube, let's do the same technique with a rectangle and transform it into a rectangular prism. Diagonal line, parallel diagonal line, third parallel diagonal line. Great. And now I just gotta connect a line that's exactly that length. Connect those 2. Connect these 2. Okay. I could do the same thing like this tall one. Diagonal, diagonal, diagonal. Connect, connect. Now we're gonna move from a shape that has 4 sides, a quadrilateral, to a triangle and make a triangular prism. Now this time I don't need 3 diagonal lines because I can only see 2 of its side. The reason I don't do this 3rd side, I could if I wanted to be a see-through rectangle, but I can't see that edge if it's solid. So I'm only going to do the 2 sides that I can see. So 1, 2. I could make them super long if I wanted to, or I could make them super short. Kind of looks like a tent. Another kind of triangle-based shape. I'm going to start with my triangle, and this time I'm going to make a pyramid. Now a pyramid only has 1 diagonal line come out of it. And then it has a line that connects the point down to that line. Now I could do a pyramid that goes the other way. I could do any of these that goes the other way. And now I'm going to be moving to shapes that have rounded sides. My first shape that I like to do, since we've been doing prisms over there, I'm going to do kind of a cylinder shape. So I start with a oval shape. I'm going to go 2 lines straight up from my oval. And I'm going to do a curved line connecting the top. What people like to do in this one oftentimes is do 2 lines that are not touching the end, and then like to do another one like that. And that doesn't look like anything, so we don't want to do that one. We can do it sideways too. An oval. From the very farthest point of my oval, I draw a straight line out, and then a parallel straight line out. And then connect it with a curved line, not a straight line. Curved is much nicer. That's going to give you a nice cylinder. And finally, I'm going to be doing, well, second to finally, I'm going to do a cone, oval, same kind of idea, except I do 2 points that come out. Okay. Once again, don't do this with your cone. Don't make it too big. I could also do a cone like that, where I draw my V first, and then draw the curved line if I can't see in, if that's the other side. That's also a cone. And my last and final one is going to be the sphere. So I start by drawing a circle. And now there's no other lines that are really drawn on the sphere except for what I call cross contour lines. And that will show that it is circular. So I can draw a curved line across this way. Maybe I'll draw a curved line across that way. Curved line that way. Maybe a curved line that way. All coming to the same point at each end. Now that kind of makes it look already rounded. I could do the same thing over here. It's going to look kind of like a disco ball. So starting from one point, going to the other point. Okay. Really what helps make a sphere look rounded and 3D is actually the shading, which we're going to get to in a moment. Now before I get too far, I want to make sure I've labeled all these, so I'm going to put their names next to them so I remember what I'm doing. Got my cubes, my rectangular prisms, my triangular prisms, my pyramid, my sphere, my cones, and my cylinders. Sorry, misspelling. So now I can add value. With these shapes, value's really going to help make them look 3D. That is the whole point of value, is to add depth. I'm going to pick one side to kind of be my sun side. So I'm going to pick the top to have my sun. I like to frequently draw my suns up there. I wouldn't always draw it on my paper, or I would draw it really lightly because I don't always really want a sun like that in my paper. But it can help me remember where's my light source coming from. Because one of these sides is going to be darker, one is going to be medium, and one is going to be light. I'm going to pick the one that is closest to my light source, which would be the top for this cube, and I'm going to make it the lightest. Sometimes I could even just leave it white. I'm going to shade it super light. This one is going to be my medium. And this one's going to be dark. Because it is on the far side. It's going to get all the shadow. No light gets to this side. Now sometimes it's harder to decide. We'll see later on. Maybe I'll have some harder ones to decide. You just kind of pick what you thinks best to you. Same for that. Exactly same situation. Top is light. Side is medium. Notice how sometimes I go two directions to get all those edges. And if I get out of that side of the lines, I can always erase. And then this side is dark because it's the far side. Don't go to the dark side, Luke. Alright, same kind of situation for that one. Oh, new shape. For my triangular prism, I would probably not really even have a light side. So I could probably just have a medium side and a dark side. Now, if you chose to do a light side and a medium side, that's fine too. As long as they're not the same. Same for this medium side I'm going to do. And a dark side. Oh, this one. That would be my light side. If I could see that side, that's my light side. On this guy, I don't have a dark side. I just have a medium with my light. Awesome. We've got to fill in that little corner. Moving back down to the cylinder. These are when it gets really exciting. Okay, so light's coming over here. It means this side's light, this side's dark. I'm going to do a slow change from dark, slowly getting lighter with my pencil until it's just white. Down here, of course, it would be dark because that's not touching any of the light from the top. Same thing for here. Light's coming from the top right, top left. So I'm gonna leave it light, and starting at the dark side, and slowly getting lighter. I wanna fill in those ends. And then this, instead of being super dark, is actually gonna be very light. Great. Same thing for this, light and dark. Sometimes I'm actually gonna rotate my paper, because the way I use my pencil, it just would be a little bit easier this way. Feel free to rotate your papers too. Any rounded shape is gonna slowly change values. And so for my sphere, I'm going to do dark on the far side. And then as I get closer to my light source, it will get lighter. Mediums in the middle, and then light right there. And this is why it's so important to practice that value scale, so I have the good feel of what my dark looks like, good feel of how to do my medium, and a good feel of how to do my light value. All right, keep practicing adding value, keep practicing drawing shapes, and then we will put this all together in a robot. Now, one helpful thing that I can use when I'm adding value is a value scale. Now, a value scale is simply just a rectangle, or it can even be a bunch of circles, that contain the full range of value from all the way light to all the way dark. So my white, I'm not really gonna do anything in there because the paper's already white. With my pencil, notice how I kind of hold it sideways again to kind of shade it. I'm gonna press as lightly as I can in this very light area. Literally as light as I can. I could even take in my eraser and kind of press it if I thought it was too dark in some spots. Next, in my medium light, I'm gonna press just a little bit harder, not much more. Sometimes I might do 2 layers, and that can help add a little bit of darkness. Just a little bit more. Great, I think that's a little hop darker than my light, my medium light. For my medium, same thing, I'm just gonna press a little bit darker. Notice once again how I am using that side of my pencil to shade. It makes for a nice smooth shade, as opposed to if I use my point, it would look like this. It's really hard to get light when you're using your point. Okay. Back to side. Pressing a little bit darker for my medium dark. A little bit darker for my dark. I think my medium dark and my dark look too similar, so I'm gonna make my dark a little bit darker. And then for my black, obviously pencil doesn't color black all the way, but as dark as my pencil will go. And on this one, I actually might use my point, because that does help make it super dark. All right, and so now I can label this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And when I'm thinking, did I get all the way to a 6 on this cone? I think I did, so that's good. Did I get all the way? Do I have some mediums that looks like maybe a 6, maybe a 5, got a 3 right about there and a 0 right there? So I can talk about my value if I have a value scale to kind of help me describe the lightness and darkness in terms of a number. So I'm gonna hold on to this, make sure my name is on here, so I can reference this later. Right now, I'm gonna do just a rough draft if we have time, or you can start your final draft of a robot that you would like to do. So if you got some room, maybe you can start doodling down here to try to see how shapes could fit together, what would be an interesting robot. Our robot that we're gonna be drawing is going to have 5 forms. So I'm liking this so far, but I'm gonna start on my real one.